Okay, so here's the content example on rectangular prisms. They say the juice company is going to look for changing the juice box. They're going to do a wax covered cardboard, and the container's got to be some kind of rectangular prism, and it wants to hold 1.728 liters of juice. And they gave you the trick down here. Centimeters cubed and milliliters are actually the same thing. So they said 1.782 liters is the same thing as 1728 centimeters cubed. And they gave you a table to start working things out. And so I want to go over that a little bit. They didn't explain very well that the length of 12, there's too many variables going on here. I can't alter the length and then the width and the height. So they just generically chose one of 12 centimeters is not a bad idea for the length of the box. All right, and then we'll worry about the width and the height based on that because we know the volume. So we can say that the volume of a rectangular prism we know is going to be length times width times height, right? And we know the volume has to be 1728. So we want to be able to do the width and the height based on the length and go from there. So what they're going to do is they're going to force the length always to be 12, and they're going to vary the width. Okay, so it's going to be 12 times the width times the height, and then they're going to find the height in terms of the length and the width. And so what I would suggest is to say, well, leave the width there rather than the specific number of the width being 2 and then 4 and then 6 and then 8 or whatever. Leave the width as it is, and we'll use Excel to do this for us. So if I want the height in terms of the width, I can say, okay, I'm going to divide both sides by 12W, because that's the stuff that's beside the H that I want to get rid of, and it's all timesing. So 12W divided by 12W is 1, or it's gone. So I've got the height is going to be 1728 divided by 12W. We'll use that in our spreadsheet in a second. The other thing we know is the surface area is going to be, if you spread it out, you've probably done this before, you've got a box, right? And so we're going to have the length, the width, and the height, and we've basically got 2 of each thing. So we've got the length times the width, that's like the bottom, and there's the bottom and the top, which are both the same, that's length by width. Length by height is going to be the front and the back. And then the last one, width by height, is going to be the left and the right side. So we're going to say there's 2 of each of those that count up the surface area, the amount of material we're going to use. And no matter what, the volume has to be 1728 because we said that's where we have to start. So I'm going to grab my spreadsheet and bring it across here. And so I'm going to do the same one as they did. I'm going to say it's all 12. All right, and so they just picked a size because they didn't know what else to do here. All right, so I'm going to zoom that down. And the width we're going to vary, and we can do whatever we want. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They did what, 2, 4, 6. I don't really like that. I'd rather get the in-between numbers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do them all. 1, 2, 3. Because I'm using a spreadsheet, I don't have to do too many calculations. It'll just do it all for me. So I'm going to do a bunch of those, and I'm going to zoom this guy down a little bit further. So I got a whole bunch of things I can do. Now the height. So we said the height is going to be 1728. Oop, I just lost it. Where'd it go? The height is going to be, there it is, 1728 divided by 12 times the width. So I'm going to grab my spreadsheet again. The height is going to be, so it's a calculation, so I'm going to say equals 1728 divided by, let's use brackets to keep everything in the bottom. We're sure it's on the bottom. 12 times, what's the height? Well, we just worked it out to be here. Whatever's in that cell. And I close my bracket and I hit enter. Okay, 144, is that the same as what they had? La, la, la. Oh, they used width of 2, so when we get to width of 2 it'll be 72. Alright, so let's actually zoom this guy down. Okay, so they had 72 and the width was 2, that's the same as us. Okay, now we're going to do the surface area. We worked out the surface area as being equal to 2 times bracket, and then it went through the series of them, length times width plus length times height plus width times height. So we got length times width plus length times height plus width times height. And I'm just clicking them so that it gets all the variables. I'm going to close my brackets and hit enter. And I'm going to zoom that guy down. And let's double check we got the same answer, 2064. That's what they got for when width is 2. Okay. And now volume we know is going to be equal to the length. So I click on the length times the width, click on the width times the height, enter. And it's always going to be, let's zoom over a little bit here, it's always going to be 1728 exactly. And I don't have to worry about rounding because I did it really well. Whoops, I missed one here. Zooming down. There we go. Okay, so the volume's always that. The height's changing depending on the width, and the length we kept the same because we couldn't have too many things changing. And we could do the same thing again with the length being 8, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to be symmetric. Okay, anyway, so we're looking for the smallest surface area. So 37, 20, 15, 12, 19, 1008, 949, 912, 888, 873. We're still going down. Wait a minute. 888, 873, 866, 864. And then it goes back up to 865. So it looks like here is where we're at our minimum. And it's maybe it may not be surprising that it's actually a rectangular cube, right? Length times width times height, they're all the same, all right? So I could have just gone from here, taken the cube root because I knew it had to be that. But sometimes we end up saying, okay, wait, the height doesn't exist, or there's some kind of condition, so it's good to do it. And now we've proved that's got to be the minimum surface area when the length, the width, and the height are all 12 centimeters.